Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel that is Nursing Tricks. I hope you all are doing well, and if you have not subscribed my channel, please do subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon to get the latest notification from my channel. And this particular video is all about, and in this video you will see the various disorders of the upper respiratory tract, and in this video I will be covering the disorders like choanal atresia, tonsillitis and the epistaxis. So please, if you want to make the notes, this video will be very helpful to you, and watch this video till end in order to understand all the disorders along with their medical management, surgical management and the nursing management. And also this video will help you in making the notes, and how, and also you will learn in this video that whenever you are studying from the books, how you have to make the notes, so that whenever you are going for an exam, how you have to study at that point of time from these notes which you are preparing right now. So this is Nursing Tricks. This will help you in making the notes, and also this will help you in understanding the medical, surgical and the nursing management of the three disorders that are very common and you can see into your exams, and that are choanal atresia, tonsillitis and the epistaxis. So let me start this video. So just let me give you an overview first, so that at the end we can revise that whether we have achieved our objectives or not. Okay, so the overview says that we will be seeing the upper respiratory tract disorders, in which I will be going to cover three disorders, that are the choanal atresia, and the second one will be your tonsillitis, and third one will be the epistaxis. Choanal atresia, tonsillitis and the epistaxis. So let me start. First I will be covering the choanal atresia. Nothing to hurry in this. We will study these topics one by one, and if you have any doubts anywhere, you can leave your doubts in the comment box. I will try to clear your doubts there only. Okay, so let us start. And students, if you are watching this channel for the first time, I request you all to kindly subscribe this channel if you want to make the notes, and if you want to learn the pediatric research and all the other subjects which will help you in clearing your entrance exam. And also if you are the students, like if you are BSc honors students or you are doing your masters, so this will help you in writing your exams. So if you have not subscribed this channel, please subscribe this channel and hit the bell icon, so that whenever I am uploading the video, you will get the notification and you can study from those videos. Okay, so the first topic that I will start is the choanal atresia. So now whenever this word comes to our mind, this is choanal atresia. This is, we are see, in this particular term you can see the word anal is coming. If you will not study, if you have not ever studied this topic, you can think of that this is something related to the anal canal, but not. This is not. This choanal atresia, please listen the definition very clearly. This will help you in understand what exactly this choanal atresia is. So let me write the definition so that you can understand the first thing that we should start from the definition, so that we can get the pathophysiology, clinical features and other things clear. Okay, so first is the Definition. Okay. So what is the definition of this choanal atresia? The definition says that choanal atresia, it is defined as the congenital failure. So whenever there is a congenital failure of the nasal cavities. So dear friends, here you can see that this disorder is related to the nasal cavities. That is why it comes under the disorders of upper respiratory tract. So it is a congenital failure of the nasal cavities to open into the nasopharynx. So in the normal process, what we can see is that normally your nasal cavities are opening into your nasopharynx. But in this condition, which is termed as the choanal atresia, we can say C for choanal atresia and C for the congenital failure. Just remember it like this. It is a congenital failure. Okay, so congenital failure of what? Congenital failure of the nasocavities to open into your nasopharynx. This is your definition. It is the congenital failure of nasocavities to normally open into your nasopharynx. It means there is obstruction in the nasal cavities, and this condition is congenital in nature. I hope the definition is clear to you. Now, it is a very rare congenital anomaly. So, second thing what we can write in the definition itself, it is a rare anomaly. Not very common, rare anomaly. And how rare it is? It is, you can see, in 1 in 5,000 to 8,000. So 1 in 5,000 to 8,000 of the population, you can see this anomaly. And you can, if you will write that what is the ratio of male is to female or female is to male ratio. So if you will just see the ratio is 2:1. So yes, you can say it is more common in the females than in the males. So I hope the definition is clear to you that choanal atresia, it is the congenital failure of the nasocavities or the nasal cavities to normally open into your nasopharynx, and it is a rare anomaly, and it found, if you can see this disorder, that how rare it is, you can see this disorder in one baby in 5,000 to 8,000 live birth. And if you will see the ratio, then you can say that females are more affected than males, and you can see the ratio is 2:1. Now let us see that how these terms are given. Okay, so the word CHOANA, this choana word, it has arisen from the Greek word. And the meaning is funnel. The meaning is funnel, and the choana is essentially the posterior nasal aperture by which air flows from the nasal cavity into the nasopharynx. So this choana word, it is the posterior nasal aperture by which your air flows from the nasal cavities into the nasopharynx. And whenever there is a congenital failure in it, it will lead to the choanal atresia. So this choana, it is present in the nasal cavities, and atresia, we know, whenever there is a failure of the things, it can lead to the choanal atresia. So I hope this is clear to you. Now let us see the epidemiology. So definition is clear to us. Now we will see the epidemiology. Now what is the epidemiology of it? See, we have already seen that it occurs in 1 in 5,000 to 8,000 live birth. It is more common in girls than boys, and slightly increased risk exists in the twins. So just now I have said 3 lines. One is, I have already written 1 in 5,000. Second line I have said females are more affected. Third line I have said that twins are more affected. Then maternal age or the parity does not increase the frequency of occurrence. So if you will see the increased maternal age or the multi-gravida mothers, they will not have the increased risk of the frequency of occurrence of the choanal atresia. Chromosomal anomalies are found in 6% of the infants with choanal atresia. So here only I can say that the infants, those who are born with the choanal atresia, associated anomalies, chromosomal anomalies are found in the 6% of the infants. So 6% of the infants, they have associated what? They have associated chromosomal anomalies. See why I am writing in these sheets, so that you can also make the notes simultaneously along with me. So please try to make the notes from here only, because whatever I am teaching you, this is the mixture of many books, and I have referred so many books so that I can make these notes, and you are getting these type of notes in just a one video. So you are lucky enough that you are getting the mixture of so many books in just a one video. Okay, so please try to make the notes, and if you will write these notes from your own hand, I will make you sure that you will learn the things by heart here only. You don't have to read or you don't have to mug up whenever you are going for an exam. Okay, now next is choanal atresia occurs with equal frequency in people of all races. So it is not discriminating. So all races, they are getting this equally. So equal chances in all races, equal chances in all races. So I hope till here it is clear to you. Now let me just start with the embryogenesis. Embryogenesis means how and when, at what week this disorder starts in the fetus. So between 4 to 6 weeks of gestation, there is a formation of primitive nasal structure. So in the womb, whenever the fetus is there in the womb, at 4 to 6 weeks of gestation, there is a formation of the primitive nasal structure. So you can write at 4 to 6 weeks, what we can see, there is a formation of primitive nasal structure. Very early, 4 to 6 week is very early, and at above same time the nasal pits form and burrow into the mesenchyma to create the primitive nasal cavity. So in this period only your nasal pits form and they burrow into the mesenchyma and they create the primitive nasal cavity. Then what happens is, these nasal pits, they sit atop the frontal portion of the stomodium, and the pits are separated from the stomodium by the nasobuccal membrane. Once the nasobuccal membrane ruptures, the primitive nasal cavity and the primitive choana are formed, and these primitive choana matures and they transforms into the definitive, or you can say the secondary choana, and This choanal atresia, it is a very rare condition that affects babies and is caused by the blockage of the choana, which is a passageway that connects each side of the nose to the throat. Okay, so what we have seen is that at 4 to 6 weeks we have seen that the primitive nasal structure is formed, and then same time these nasal pits form and they lead to the burrow into the mesenchyma, so that they forms the primitive nasal cavities. And then what happens is these nasal pits sit atop the frontal portion of the stomoeudem, that is also the primitive oral cavity which is known as, and the pits are separated from the stomoeudem by the nasobuccal membrane. So both the nasal pits, they are separated by the nasobuccal membrane, and once the nasobuccal membrane ruptures, the primitive nasal cavity and the primitive choana are formed, and here only if it fails, it will lead to the choanal atresia. So this is the embryogenesis. So basically we should know that at how many weeks this problem can arise. So the formation is there at 4 to 6 weeks of gestation. The primitive nasal cavity is formed and the choana, it is formed. So in these 4 to 6 weeks of gestation, we can see this problem arises in a fetus. Okay. Now let us just see the, and yes, important thing is it is a congenital condition, we have already seen. And what is the meaning of congenital? We all know that it is present at birth, and the condition may be present as an isolated, as I have already told that many a times in 6% of infants associated chromosomal anomalies can also be seen, and the conditions, they can be present as an isolated in 94% of the infants, and that is otherwise healthy, or it could be a part of the genetic disorder called the CHARGE syndrome. So let us just see what is this CHARGE syndrome is. So I will tell you what is this CHARGE syndrome. So this CHARGE syndrome is associated with this choanal atresia. I am writing what is CHARGE here. So I hope it is visible to you. Okay. So I am writing CHARGE. C-H-A-R-G-E. CHARGE. Now what is this CHARGE syndrome? This CHARGE syndrome, I will write what it is. It is, the C stands for the coloboma, C-O-L-O-B-O-M-A, coloboma. It is your anomaly in eye. And then H stands for the heart abnormalities. Your H is heart abnormalities. Your A is your choanal atresia. Then your R is growth retardation. Your growth retardation. Then G stands for the genitourinary defects, and E stands for the ear anomalies. Okay. So in those 6% of the infants, what all genetic disorders are associated? So there is an acronym that stands for CHARGE, CHARGE syndrome, in which C stands for the coloboma, that is defect in the eyeball. H stands for the heart abnormality. A stands for choanal atresia. Your R stands for the growth retardation. G stands for the genitourinary defect, and E stands for the ear anomalies. So whenever it is asked from you that CHARGE syndrome is associated with which type of disorder or with which disorder, so you can say, if in the options it is given the upper respiratory tract infection, upper respiratory tract disorder, or straight away if they have given the option as choanal atresia, so you can just mark the answer or option as choanal atresia. So I hope till here it is clear to you. Till here we have discussed the definition, we have discussed the epidemiology, we have discussed the embryogenesis, we have discussed the associated syndrome, which is a charge syndrome. Now next let us see the types of the choanal atresia. So let me just take another pen. Yes, so the types of choanal atresia. Now we have two nasal cavities with us. Okay, so it can be unilateral failure, unilateral congenital failure, bilateral congenital failure, or it can be partial with the severe stenosis. So we have seen the three types here. One type is the unilateral failure. Second one is the bilateral failure. Third one is it can be partial with the severe stenosis. Okay, so these are the types. Unilateral means only the one side or the one nasal cavity is blocked. Bilateral, both the nasal cavities, choanas are blocked. And it is partial with the severe stenosis means the partially it is blocked but having a severe stenosis. So unilateral choanal atresia, I will talk about first this. So this is more common of the two. It is more common. First point to be written is more common, and is also a less threatening. More common but less threatening. More common, less threatening. And atresia affects just one side of the nasal passageway. So the word itself is telling uni means only the one side of the nasal passage is affected. Next is the bilateral. This can be a life threatening. So obviously when your both the nasal passage are blocked, it is life threatening, and it affects both the passageways, causing extreme respiratory difficulty in a newborn. So unilateral and bilateral choanal atresia. Now let us see what are the causes. What are the causes of the choanal atresia? So the cause of the choanal atresia is unknown. It is unknown. The thin tissue which is separating the nose and the mouth area during the fetal development, it remains after the birth. So the area which is separating your nose and your mouth, it remains after the birth. It remains. And the allergy and sinus disease with associated secretions and tissue swelling may contribute as well. So if there is any allergy or the sinus disease, if there is, which are associated with the secretions and the tissue swelling, they can contribute to this particular condition, especially in children with the cystic fibrosis. So important point here to note is that if the child is having cystic fibrosis, which we will discuss whenever we will study the our lower respiratory tract infection, there we will see that what is cystic fibrosis. So if the child is having cystic fibrosis, that child can have this particular condition associated with it. So what we have seen, the cause is mostly unknown, but the thin tissue, if it remains, which is separating your nose and separating your mouth with each other, if it remains, that can lead to this particular condition. And also we have seen the allergy and the sinus disease. The diseases which are associated with your upper respiratory tract can lead to this particular condition. Okay, and also the very important is cystic fibrosis. So these are the causes. Now let us see the signs and symptoms. That what are the signs and symptoms? So signs and symptoms, I am writing it with the SNS. This is signs and symptoms. So what are the signs and symptoms? So we will see these signs and symptoms with the types. So let us see if the baby is having a unilateral. What are the signs if the baby is having the unilateral atresia? So in the unilateral atresia, we know that only the one passageway is affected. So first is, when will the newborn will present? It will present later in life. Why? Because this is a non-emergent condition. I've already told here that it is more common, but it is very less threatening. So what will happen? The baby or the newborn who is born with the unilateral atresia, they can even also present later in the life, because this is a non-emergent condition. Second one is chronic nasal discharge. There will be chronic nasal discharge. Only one nasal passage is patent. So you can see from that passage there will be discharge. Okay. Then third is the nasal obstruction. Every time the mother will come and complain of the nasal obstruction, that whenever the child is feeding, whenever the child is or sleeping, the child is not taking the adequate amount of sleep, or child is not taking adequate amount of feed. Why? Because whenever the child is feeding, the only one of the nasal passage is patent, and the child will feel very tired very early. Okay, so this is, the mother will complain to you of the nasal obstruction, and you will see on examination you will see the thick nasal secretions. The secretions are very thick. Now here important point to note is that when I will teach you the cystic fibrosis, in this particular condition also you will see that the child presents with the thick secretions, and here you can see the child is having thick nasal secretions on examination. So if I will just put these sign and symptoms in a nutshell. So in the unilateral atresia, number one, the child will present later in the life. Why? Because this is a non-emergent condition, and the child will have chronic nasal discharge, the child will have nasal obstruction. So this, you can learn these sign and symptoms in the like a pathophysiology also. If there will be nasal obstruction, what will happen? There will be chronic nasal discharge, because only one of the nasal passage is patent, and also the child will present this later in the life. Why? Because this is a non-emergent condition, and also because of this cystic fibrosis, the child will have the thick nasal secretions if you will go for the examination. Okay, now next I will tell you, if the child is having the bilateral atresia. Now what will happen if the child is having a bilateral atresia? Okay, so the first thing we have seen is, whenever this is a bilateral condition, child will present as soon as the child is born. Child will have cyanosis. Child will have increased respiratory effort in order to maintain the oxygen saturation of the body. Then there will be chest retractions. There will be classically cyanosis or saturation improve with the crying. You can see if the child is crying, the saturation will improve. Okay, and then you can see inability to nurse the child and breathe at the same time. So these are the some of the sign and symptoms in case of the unilateral and bilateral atresia. Now let me just revise the sign and symptoms so that you don't have to mug up the sign and symptoms. So in the unilateral, we have seen it presents in the later in the life, and there is a nasal obstruction which leads to the chronic nasal discharge. Thick nasal secretions are present on the examination. In the bilateral atresia, you will see it is present in the newborn. Why? This is an emergent condition. Cyanosis, that is a classical cyanosis which goes if the child cries, and there is an increased respiratory effort in order to maintain the oxygen or saturation of the body. Chest retractions you can see, and on crying, we can see that the saturation of the child, it improves. Okay, so what we can see, just if you have to write in one go that what all are the sign and symptoms, you can write. And also we all know that the neonates, they are obligatory nose breathers for the first 6 months of life. So they are dependent on the nose for the first 6 months of life, and the symptoms are present immediately after birth in case of the bilateral atresia. And the three classical symptoms that you can see are the respiratory distress, silent cyanosis, and suckling immediately will precipitate the cyanosis in the bilateral atresia, because whenever the child is sucking on the breast, there is only nose which can just pass the oxygen from the air to the lungs, and they are already blocked. So what will happen? It will lead to the cyanosis. Respiratory distress, sucking will immediately precipitate to the cyanosis, and there will be silent cyanosis, but on the crying, that cyanosis will be corrected. Okay, I hope this much is clear to you. Now next I will move on to the diagnosis, that how we can diagnose this particular condition. Okay, so let us just move on to the diagnosis. So I'm just writing. I hope you all are also writing along with me and you are making the notes. Any doubts, please leave in the comment box. I will be more happy to take your doubts and to solve. I am also in a learning phase. Yes, if anything new that you know about this this particular condition, please let me know in the chat box, so that I will also know about the condition. It is a two-way process. Learning is a two-way process. It is never a one-way process. Sometimes I learn from you people and sometimes you learn from me. Okay, so this should be the your strategy. This should be in your mind whenever you are studying. Okay, now let us go with the diagnosis. Now how you will diagnose this condition? So first is whenever you will take a catheter of 8 French, so 8 French catheter you will not be able to pass in the nasal cavities. So in the nasal cavities you will not be able to pass the 8 French catheter. Just remember the 8 French catheter. It is associated with the choanal atresia. Now how will you confirm? So the confirmatory test, very important point comes here. The confirmatory test for choanal atresia is your flexible nasal endoscopy. Obviously the problem is there in the nose, so the flexible nasal endoscopy, this helps you in confirming the diagnosis in the newborn. Next is the CT scan. This CT scan, what it will do? This is computed tomographic scan. This demonstrates the atretic plate thickness. First of all, you will be knowing about this atretic plate, that what is the thickness of the atretic plate which separates your mouth and the nasal cavity. Then you will differentiate between the bony and the membranous atresia, and this will help you in differentiating between the bony and the membranous atresia, whether it is a bony or a membranous atresia. So this way you can diagnose. So in the choanal atresia, the test that may be done includes a CT scan, endoscopy of the nose sinus X-ray. So 3 things. You will not be able to pass the, let me just take other pen, where it has gone. It is okay. So 8 French catheter you will not be able to pass. Confirmatory test is the flexible nasal endoscopy, and the CT scan will further demonstrate you the thickness of the atretic plate, and you will able to differentiate between whether it is a bony or it is a membranous atresia. CHARD syndrome, I have already told you. C stands for coloboma, that is essentially a hole in one of the structure of eye, that I have already told. Your H stands for heart disease, that can be TOF, PDA, VSD, ASD or aortic arch, atresia, choanal atresia, retarded growth or genital anomalies or the ear anomaly. So you can see for the CHARD syndrome also. Now next let us see the treatment. What is the treatment, that how you will go with the treatment. So I will just take a pen and I will write the treatment here. So treatment part, let me just make the treatment part. So treatment is if it is a bilateral choanal atresia, if it is a bilateral choanal atresia. So here let me ask one question from you. You can I know that I am not live, but yes, I am asking this question. So before just going forward, let me see that whether you have listened to the types clearly or not. So the question is, just answer yourself and just you can just mark, or you can just see whether you have listened the lecture carefully or not. So unilateral choanal atresia is more emergent, or the bilateral choanal atresia is more emergent. So just give the answer to yourself and just evaluate yourself. Okay. Now moving forward, this bilateral choanal atresia, this is an emergency and this should be immediately, the intervention is required. In this, what you will do? Immediately you will insert the finger into the baby's mouth and depress the tongue down and forward. Okay, and then you will replace it with the LMA, that is your plastic oropharyngeal airway or the McGovern open tip nipple. Okay, and if you fail to do so, this may require tracheostomy or intubation. Yes, if it is a bilateral choanal atresia, it is an emergency. For this, you require to resuscitate the baby. Sometimes resuscitation is required. Before resuscitation, first what you have to do is, you have to just insert the finger and you have to push the tongue. How you have to push? You have to push it down and forward. What? Tongue. And then you will replace it with the LMA, oropharyngeal airway, and then or with the McGovern open tip nipple. With this you will replace it, and if you fail to do so, what we will do in that condition? Sometimes tracheostomy or even your intubation, tracheostomy or sometimes your intubation is required. I hope this much is clear to you. Now next is the treatment is only surgical. Nothing can be done in the medical. So surgery is to remove the obstruction that cures the problem, and surgery may be delayed if the infant can tolerate the mouth breathing, and the surgery may be done through the nose, or even it can be done through the mouth. If it is done through the mouth, it is your transpalatal, or if it is done through nose, it is the transnasal. Okay, now let us see the surgical approaches. Let us just see the surgical approaches. So I have told you there are two approaches that are transpalatal, or it can be transpalatal or transnasal. If it is a transpalatal, removal of the posterior hard palate, it is done through the mouth. Okay, and then the stents are placed in the nasal passage for 3 to 6 weeks. And then what is done? For 3 to 6 weeks, for 3 to 6 weeks the stents are placed, and in the transnasal, which is less invasive, it is from the nose, which is less invasive, and through the nose we are removing we are creating the passage in the nasal cavities. Okay, next is the timings of the surgical repair. Now, when it can be done? Most bilateral can be done within the first few days of life. So, first few days of life it can be done to aid in the growth and development of the baby, and the Char syndrome may require a delayed tracheostomy typically, which is needed, and in the unilateral atresia it can be done before the school age. So, if you will write, let me just write so that you can also copy the timings. Okay, I am just writing here timing of surgical repair. So, for the bilateral it is first few days of life, and if it is unilateral, before school age it can be done, before school age. Now, what is the next is what is the prognosis? The prognosis, if you will see, the full recovery can be expected if the child is having this particular condition, and possible complications can be aspiration while feeding and attempting to breathe through the mouth, respiratory arrest, and re-narrowing of the area. These are the complications which can be there in this particular condition. Now, very important, we have seen the management. Now we will see the next, which is the nursing management, and which plays a very important role in our from our point of study. So now just let me adjust it first. Okay, yes, nursing management. Now, how you will manage being a nurse? So, first you need to consider the newborn, the child, if with the symptoms of nasal obstruction. If there is nasal obstruction, that is the first sign, you will consider the child for this. There is a high association of choanal atresia with other congenital defects, so we should look for the other defects too. Look for other defects too. Oxygen therapy, it can be given for the respiratory distress by use of a special nipple which is known as the McGovern nipple, with which the oxygen therapy can be given, which has a large hole. So let me just tell you about this McGovern nipple. This is a large hole is there in it, the center of it, and for the air passage or a plastic oral airway piece can also be used. So then you have to maintain the IO before and after the surgery. IO you have to maintain. You have to keep the client warm. Very important, newborn are very much prone to have the hypothermia, so we have to maintain the temperature. An IV drip is used in order to hydrate. For hydration, IV therapy can be given. Then vital signs are to be monitored, and oxygen we need to provide in case of dyspnea and the cyanosis. And very important to note here is that they have the silent cyanosis. In case of the if the child will cry, what will happen? The child will have the resolution in the cyanosis. And all the drugs are to be administered keeping in mind the 5 steps of the drug administration, and also the we have to suction the nasal stents so that they don't get blocked up. So if you see the child is having a stunts, in that condition you need to suction those stunts. And then what you have to do is teach the parents also how to suction to keep the stunt patent for period of 3 months after the surgery till stunt will be removed. So now parents are to be taught how to suction the stunt, and also nurse must teach how to keep nose clean and how to give your baby nose drops. How can nose be kept clean, how can you administer the drops, and also make sure that the client nasal passage is patent before starting the feed. Make sure that there is a patent nasal passage before feed. So this is the nursing management. So let us just revise. First of all, you have to consider every newborn having the nasal obstruction, and then you have to look for the other defects also. Then you need to give the oxygen therapy with the help of the McGovern nipple, or then next you have to maintain the intake output chart of the newborn before and after the surgery. You need to keep the client warm. You have to maintain the hydration with IV therapy. You need to maintain or check the vital signs regularly, and you need to provide this oxygen in order to prevent the dyspnea and the cyanosis. And then stunts are to be suctioned regularly, and then parents are to be taught that how they have to suction the stunt and how they can keep the nose of the baby clean, and how they have to send the stunt, and also make sure that they maintain the patent nasal passage before each feed. So this is the nursing management of the child with the choanal atresia. So this was all about the choanal atresia. So before closing this video and starting off the other one, that is tonsillitis, I will just revise it so that you will never ever forget this. So just let me just take all the pages and let us just revise by closing our eyes so that we can know that what we have studied in this particular session. So first thing, I have told you that we will study about the choanal atresia, and in this choanal atresia we have first dealt with the definition, we have seen the epidemiology, embryogenesis, causes, we have seen the types, we have seen how we have to diagnose it, then what is the treatment, then what is the nursing management of choanal atresia. So this choanal atresia, if I have to write, the first thing comes in my mind is that this choana word, it comes from the Greek word, which is the meaning is the funnel. So in the definition, it is a congenital failure of the nasal cavities to open normally into the nasopharynx. It is a very rare anomaly, and it can be seen in 1 in 5,000 to 8,000 live births, and more females are more affected than males, that is 2:1 is the ratio. And if you will see the epidemiology, it is 1 in 5,000 newborns. You can see females are more affected. In twins are not much affected. 6% of the infants are associated with the chromosomal anomalies, and the equal chances to have this choanal atresia in all the races. If you will see the embryogenesis, in this, in 4 to 6 weeks of the gestation, what happens, normally there is a formation of the primitive nasal structure which will lead to the primitive nasal cavity and which will lead to the formation of choana. Any failure in this step, it will lead to the choanal atresia. Then next we have seen that what chromosomal anomaly can be associated with this particular condition. So it is a Chart syndrome, in which C stands for the coloboma, defect of an eye, H stands for the heart abnormality, A stands for the choanal atresia, R stands for your growth retardation, G stands for genitourinary defect, E stands for your ear anomaly. So this Chart syndrome is associated with your choanal atresia. Then next we have seen the types. In the types we have seen unilateral failure, it can be bilateral failure or it can be partial with the severe stenosis. Unilateral failure, it is more common but less threatening. Bilateral, life threatening condition, and it is less common. If you will see the causes is unknown, and if there is any allergy or the sinus disease, this can be associated with this particular condition. And also very important point to note here is the cystic fibrosis can be associated with your this choanal atresia. Then if you will see the sign and symptoms, in the sign and symptoms we have seen if the child is having the unilateral atresia, it can present later in the life. It is the chronic nasal discharge you will see, nasal obstruction you will see, and then you will see the thick secretions on examination, which I have already told can be associated with the cystic fibrosis. In the bilateral atresia, you will see this is present at the newborn period only, and you will see the child will have the silent cyanosis, increased respiratory effort, then chest retraction will be there, and the child will have the silent, if the child is crying, it will improve the cyanosis of the child. That is why the cyanosis is known as the silent cyanosis. Then next is the diagnosis. So in the diagnosis, we have seen you will not be able to pass the 8 French catheter into the nose if the child is having this particular condition. Then how you will confirm it? You can confirm this with the flexible nasal endoscopy, and with the CT scan, what you will be able to differentiate between the bony and the membranous atresia, and also you can see the thickness of the atretic plate. Then what is the treatment? If it is a bilateral choanal atresia, this is an emergency. Sometimes you need to do the resuscitation. What you have to do, insert the finger, then you have to move the tongue down and forward, and which can be replaced later by the oropharyngeal airway or with the McGovern open tip nipple. Sometimes if you fail to do so, the tracheostomy or the intubation is also required. Now how we can approach for the surgery? There are two approaches. The first approach is the transpalatal approach, which through mouth when you are approaching to the condition. Transnasal approach when you are going from the nose. And this is in this the stunts are placed for 3 to 6 weeks in the newborn, and this is the very if you will using this transnasal, it is considered as less invasive process. Now what are the timings? I have seen that in the bilateral, it have to be repaired after first few days of life, and if it is unilateral before school age, it should be repaired. Okay, so this was the treatment. And the last we have seen about the nursing management. So what is the nursing management? First, any newborn with the nasal obstruction, you need to consider the newborn for this particular condition. Look for the other defects too that I have already told you, which is the coloboma, and then coloboma, or you can write the charge association. So coloboma, heart anomaly, choanal atresia, growth retardation, genitourinary, and the ear anomalies. So I have written this coloboma because this term is new for you. Okay, then oxygen therapy can be given with the McGovern open tip nipple, in which there is a hole in the center in order to maintain the patency in the airway. Intake output is to be monitored before and after the surgery, and very important is you have to maintain the temperature, or you have to maintain the client warm. Hydration you can maintain with IV therapy. Vital signs you need to monitor. Oxygen therapy you have to provide, which will so that you can prevent the dyspnea and the cyanosis, so that you can prevent the dyspnea and cyanosis. Stunts, you need to see that whenever suction is required, you need to suction the stunts, and you have to teach the parents also that how they can suction the stunt and how you can keep the nose cleaned, and make sure whenever you are starting the feed, the nose is patent. So this was all about your cystic fibrosis. So I hope for today that you will make the notes of this choanal atresia, and if I will just see here, what I have covered is the choanal atresia. Very soon you will get the video of tonsillitis and then epistaxis. So I hope that this topic is clear to you. Any doubts or any new points you want to add in, you can write in the comment box. I will make sure that I will answer to your queries if you have any query in this choanal atresia. So thank you so much for watching this video and for cooperating me and for this patience listening. Thank you and have a nice day.